Change can sometimes be for the better.
Be gone with you.
I'm afraid you can't get rid of me that easily.
So it was you who stole the fruit.
It was only a small piece.
Hey. Wake up. Where's Bella? Hey! Damn it! Hey, what's your name?
Howard Wright.
My name's Sam Monroe. If you see my Bella again, please make sure she's okay.
Wait, you're Sam Monroe? So you're the one who sent me the message.
I don't know what you're talking about. Bella! Bella!
They don't even bother with an episode recap this time. Even if you've watched every episode very recently, none of what you just saw made any sense. What's important is Saigo appears to have died, but killed the jelly bean monster in the process, and Howard has met Sam for the first time, but recognizes him somehow. Sam doesn't, and it doesn't matter. Sam's our protagonist for now. Let's see through his eyes the Nest chapter that we saw through Howard's eyes long ago.
Is that you?
Yep, this is familiar. But this time, the maggot Shibito threatening us is Melissa. You would assume she would be destroyed in the fire that she started to take out the maggot that was threatening her and Bella. But apparently not. Even fire doesn't kill maggots. So we're gonna head over here, check this door. Find that it's futile.
No!
And suddenly it's not so futile anymore. Bella had the key to this door. Good thing, too. But she left, through a hole in the wall that only she can get through. The key to this door was inside the sewer the gutter, just outside the hospital, back at the beginning of the second loop, after Melissa flushed it into that same gutter, which makes absolutely no sense, but that key we got a long time ago. It was very easy to miss, but we did not miss it. And there's an archive item in here. A book with the name Hanuda on the cover. That's all Sam recognizes about it. There it is. Printed on graph paper. And another 1976 calendar. Whole reason to come in here. And I'm dead. Got a little impatient. The maggots will always one-hit kill you when they get the hand around your throat. I don't think we'd hit a checkpoint yet, so let's just do it all again. Which was very little in the first place, so no big deal. We don't even have to go into the little secret locked area, which I believe on our map, that's not our map, Renaissance Grocery, but that's the large building. The locked building has no name. It doesn't matter. There's Bella. We know the deal. Seen all we need to see about that. Some parts of the terrain are very easy to navigate, others are completely impenetrable for our characters. So I got stuck on a branch of a little bush. Of all the things to take out our intrepid hero. We've seen this door. Takes a long time to unlock for Sam. Any longer, and Melissa would have grabbed us by the throat again.
This place is like a maze.
And there's our first checkpoint. Sometimes Melissa can catch up to you so quickly that she grabs you while you're unlocking it. That is somewhat uncommon. Take out one spider, we can push the parch machine into the way again, but it serves no purpose. Let's just keep running. That's the only spider in this area at the moment. So it's just me and Melissa. Trying to find Bella first. And whoever wins basically determines the fate of all humanity. Bella is pretty important. So Melissa was just behind us, and now she's in front of us. She has teleportation powers, along with being a Shibito. Almost dodged. That's fine, though. We need this antenna. It locks on to Melissa. Let's aim very high and whiff it anyway. I was hoping we would miss at least one, which seems like a lie. We need to land 3 of these antennae, and there are 3 on top of the first building we jumped to. She made this sound like she got hit, but she doesn't have an antenna sticking out of her, so I don't think that counted. It's entirely possible to run out of all the antenna. Antennae, antennas, whatever you prefer. But she's right behind us again. Her hitbox, despite the fact that she is a gigantic target, makes no sense. But there we go. There's a nice headshot. See if we can follow it up with something similar. As soon as we get the antenna knocked out of our hand, it cannot be used anymore. Sam can only pick up fresh antennas once. There we go. Back of the neck. She's not over here, so picking that up would be useless. Let's drop down another level, where there are plenty more antennas. A ridiculous number of antennas, quite frankly. They have fantastic cable reception in this particular domicile. It automatically tells where she is, which is pretty much inaccessible to us. She can't get us, we can't get at her. The curvature on these javelins is immense. They are not aerodynamic at all. So you can arc them in some pretty absurd ways. More likely, though, it's just going to work against you in this sniper duel of embarrassing detritus. I think that got her.
Stay away
Reunited with Bella, and the shotgun, the most important weapon in the game. Seems like Melissa's finally done for. That leaves a lot of spider Shibito. Tons of them. Going right for Bella. That is Soul. Soul has become Spider. Lucky bastard. So we got knocked back into this little area. This is where we want to be. One Shibito is squeezed in there and killed us. But there is an issue with what I believe is called in game development the nav mesh, which is where the monsters can move so as to find the player. The nav mesh doesn't typically reach into this little closet area because it is normally locked off from the rest of the level. So sometimes monsters will try and come get us and find it impossible to do so. It's kind of what we are counting on. Soul should be getting up soon. Yeah. This is the hardest section of the entire game by a very wide margin. So it might take a few tries. In fact, it already has. There's no might about it. But it is very heavily scripted. You do need to get a little bit lucky. This is not lucky. This is extremely unlucky. Soul's down and still saying horrifying things, somehow. Despite his death. But he is back up. We get 2 slow shots. Want to keep these ones down. But not forget about those ones. Since we're basically invincible when we're in the closet area, we do need to leave sometimes to lure them away from Bella, where they will then prioritize us. Except for Soul, who will always go directly for Bella. And he escaped there. For once, the Shibito have a finite HP bar, which is not visible to us, but after they get knocked down a certain number of times, they will cease to get back up. We need to do that with every spider in this area in order to proceed. Only then will Bella be safe. We're being extremely non-aggressive and getting in each other's way. Soul should be getting back up any second now. There he is. That wasn't even Soul. Did I mention this is difficult? We got very close the time before the most recent time there, so we'll get through this soon enough. Remember how this used to be a stealth game? I barely do. Shoo out of here. You please stay down. Push me into the closet. Unfortunately, it pushed itself into the closet as well. They seem to have less HP while they're in the process of standing up. Making it easier to knock them back down. That's the time to get them, really, because they're not moving. And one shot will typically take them down. There's definitely one headed towards Bella. Lowered it back down. That counted. That should not have counted. Normally it takes like twice as many shots for that to actually work, but I guess I knocked them all down at the same time. So even though they did have the capacity to stand back up, they were all down at once, so mission accomplished, I guess. The day is saved. We could not otherwise have gotten up to Bella, because the only way to do that is to climb the tower, Melissa's corpse is blocking the ladder to the tower. To explain all that. But we did it. We discovered the truth, as was the mission we were set out to do. So that was the truth. Spiders can die. There we go. We solved Siren Blood Curse. Thank you for watching.
Melissa!
Mommy?
Miyako, you're here.
私はずっとそばにいるよ。
I made a promise to you that we'd get out of here together.
お願い。全部消して。この村も、あいつらも全部。
Miyako?
It's official. Mag and Shibito literally cannot die. You can only give them a short nap. And that's what we did with Melissa. And then, collapse. Miyako was successfully sacrificed at the end of the last video. And we have now gone into the portal ourselves. The Triangle Portal. Which apparently leads to another world, the realm of Kaiko, who must now die.
This role is meant for you. I'm afraid you better satisfied.
Saiga boss fight. Okay, we managed to both miss each other in point-blank shootout combat. Don't see that too often. Bit of an OK Corral moment. Saiga has entrusted us with the Urian, which he collected in the mines. And then he fell asleep. He just dropped something there because he suffered 3 headshots. Let's go get that thing. He was luring me to it. Genius. That was an archive item. And now I need to get 3 headshots again. This segment is also very hard because Saiga's gun is much better than ours. OK Corral again. This doesn't normally happen. I assure you of that much. Once we get far enough away, he will continue to do his intimidation walk. But we'll be very far away because we ran and he walked. We are not playing by Freddy Krueger rules. Jason Voorhees was the reference I meant to make there. And he snuck up behind me. Outsmarted again by Saiga. This is another one that I had worked out pretty cleanly. But not cleanly enough, apparently. So we're gonna do one of these. You want him in the position that he was in the previous battle before I went to go get the archive item that he dropped. Where he just can't see you. So he makes a lot of mistakes. This is me making mistakes. Yeah. Once you get hit, you do have to run away because your firing and reload is so slow. And he gets 2 shots for every one of yours. He will win that damage race. Let's hope he whiffs again. That's fine. Worked out great last time when I went all the way over here. I'm even gonna duck down for increased accuracy. Does not appear to have affected the shake of my gun in the slightest. Okay, he's going the other way. Nope. So he is completely out of his cycle now. And can do basically whatever he feels like. I no longer have any control over how this fight's gonna go. Just gotta run around and hope that I lose him. I seem to have lost him. Well enough, at least. He has 3 controller aiming. There he goes. Dropped a scroll. And died.
俺はダンテではない。ベアトリーチェの導きは期待できない。
I'd say he's more Dante than ever. But he insists to the contrary as he pulls out his family heirloom sword. We definitely need the scroll now. That's our last missable archive item. All the remaining archive items will be handed to us during story events. We don't have to do anything to get them. We also no longer need to go for headshots. He only drops the scroll after suffering 3 headshots. But body shots work just fine. Headshots still do more damage, though. But let's kill the old doctor. Yeah, he's not even trying to run for us. Now he is. If he knocks us down, we will have to shake the controller, or he will slice us to bits while we're on the ground. But he swings the thing like a baseball bat. Very awkward. Little chance of him actually landing a hit. He's a sniper with a shotgun, but not much of a swordsman. And in that way, he is indeed no Dante. Yes, I know he's talking about a different Dante. Let me have my Capcom fun.
私の血、私の命を使って力を解き放って。
都？あ。
So Miyako has bestowed upon us the ability to wield the Urian, which is why Saiga handed it to us at the beginning of this fight. Saiga was accused of stealing the fruit by Amana. The fruit is Miyako's blood. It's what was offered in sacrifice to Kaiko in order to open this portal in the first place and unleash the jelly bean monster. We saw Miyako give Howard a blood transfusion by slicing both their hands long ago. We never know why Saiga also has some of Miyako's blood. Just enough to wield the Urian somewhat effectively, but not nearly as effectively as Howard himself. So Saiga admits defeat. Let's just burn him down. Okay, he's gonna ignore that. Anyway, he's gonna die as soon as I zap him with this Urian. That's gonna bring us to the climax of the game, and unfortunately, the visual effects playing throughout the climax will be the most intense thing ever portrayed in any video game. If you have any issues with photosensitivity, extreme color patterns, anything at all, if anything has ever set you off visually, this upcoming event will do the same, and it lasts for several minutes and is extremely relevant to the plot. Even still, you'll have to look away or simply skip ahead, and I will recap it later. My severe apologies Even if you don't have an issue with it, and you do choose to watch it, you're gonna get a headache. So brace yourself. Once I zap Saiga, we will be in literal hell. But first I need to use the Urian on him. As you saw, it creates a pillar of flame. But it's a precise distance away from where we are. So it does take a little bit of timing. And then it takes some time to recharge. Yeah, he's already too close. Can't have that. Let him whiff his baseball swing over and over. That should be about right. No. It also has a surprisingly narrow area of effect. Distance was correct, though. He was right behind me. He seems to lose his mind when he's off camera. But let's get rid of him and summon horrible things as we enter the kaleidoscope. Had to show this off at least. What it's like to get knocked down. Totally whiffed it. Fortunately, there's a checkpoint. After his defeat, the second time. Each phase of this has a checkpoint. Surprisingly merciful. He does a lot of damage. Wow. He did half my health per swing. And I thought he was a bad swordsman. Get the timing right on this. There he goes. Now pay attention to his final words before we enter the kaleidoscope.
Reset. My part in this is finished. Yuki.
You were the one who stole the fruit.
Oh Lord, I offer up myself in place of the stolen fruit.
For the love of God, look away right now. Here we are. Inside Swirling Colors Psychedelia Nightmare World, aka Inferno. I believe that's what the name of this place is. Yep, Inferno, down there in the lower left. No compass can handle it. Here at 3:33:33 on August the 5th. Nothing can handle it. But we must handle it, for we need to face Kaiko. Use my eyes, you say. So, Miyako is being literal when she says she's here with us. There she is. We can't see Miyako, but she can see us. And more importantly, she can see Kaiko.
Untitled 新しいよりしろに宿った炎を放ちその炎をなぎ払って
no adequately explained reason, we need to destroy that node first. And that powers up our sword and I guess weakens Kaiko. Now we follow where Miko's looking. Again, the distance that the Urian fires. It's very hard to parse. This target is much larger than Saiga was, so we actually want to get much closer to Kaiko before attacking. Kaiko is right over here. That's the real Kaiko, but there are clone Kaikos. And if you get knocked down, you miss your opportunities for attack. Or perhaps not. It's actually a fairly simple cycle of events that need to occur. But we are running out of time to accomplish those events. I actually kind of want to run out of time, just to show off the extent of what Kaiko can do. It can knock us down, but it doesn't really follow through to kill us. We can die here, but it is extremely hard. It's really not a thing you need to concern yourself with in the final boss of an otherwise extremely difficult video game. Sometimes we see a green arrow, that is Miyako. She no longer has a body. She's desynchronized with this realm. Hey, I died. Not even from anything specific. Just keeled right over. Okay, the relic is still existent. Let's go break that again. Help me out, Miyako. Just looking over here. I mean, I'm gonna zap Kaiko if I have the chance. There we go. That's what happens if you take too many actions without killing Kaiko. It opens up a portal and resets the entire fight. And that's all I wanted to show off. Now, let's kill this thing. Right about here. That seems to have whiffed somehow. It should be Urian, sword, Urian. Because you need to deal another hit while the Urian is recharging. And the sword is now infused with Urian power. The Urian, by the way, is the Lament configuration from Hellraiser. That is an intentional reference because this game is intended for American audiences. And here goes Kaiko. Mission accomplished. Only now is it safe to look back at your television screens.
of all things is about to be born. The circle is sealed. An offering to Ouroboros.
Everything must be repeated, so that Bella can exist forever. Howard. That was his name.
This is my promise to Miyako.
So that explained everything, I'm sure. That was the Buster. This game's equivalent, because it is in many ways a remake of the original Siren. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But maybe go watch an LP of the original Siren sometime. Here's our stats. You can also break them down by chapter. Note that there are awards at the bottom for stealth, no sight jacking, no damage. You can go through each and every chapter and accomplish all these little challenges for some added replay value, if that sounds fun to you. It's sort of action game-esque. Decent replay value if you want to amuse yourself with that sort of thing. There's also a bit of a speedrunning scene for this game, not a huge one, but it exists. This game is much better suited to speedrunning than any of the other Sirens, so it's entertaining at least. There are certainly some interesting stealth tricks to speed things up. That was our results screen. Now, as noted, things were not necessarily the most clear at the end there. So it's a damn good thing we have this archive page to elucidate things further. Here's the Homura Nagi. We did get to wield it ourselves at the end, so It's a sword Saigo was wielding, engraved with the name Homuranagi. It has been well maintained and keeps a sharp edge despite its age. I keep calling him Saiga because I read last names as first names in the American style. But no, he wasn't even born a Saiga. Certainly didn't want to die a Saiga. The implication being he is a descendant of Miyako or the original Miyako, and that the current Miyako is like a distant relative of his? Perhaps also a descendant of the original Miyako, or the original Miyako has been alive for thousands of years. Very unclear, but living for thousands of years is something that at least one character in the plot does do. We'll see more about that soon. This is the Urian Lament configuration, aka Seigo discovered this mysterious artifact in the depths of the local mine. Literature describing the object's legend is rumored to exist. We found that literature. In fact, I think we've already read all the relevant literature. We also have a new page of the Sacred Revelations. All the way at the end. I believe this is a new page? True ceremony was held, the fruit was offered, and the Savior awoke. And the Savior appears to be like loose collection of dots with an extending tentacle and an arm. That is clearly the jelly bean monster, which is not Kaiko. So why does the jelly bean monster exist? It's still unclear. The outsiders suffered. Into a great void they fell. So the guy in the blue shirt represents Howard. And the little person appears to be maybe Sam? Because that's not the typical drawing of Bella. Bella looks like that character up top. In fact, if we were to translate the Shibito language compared to the letters right next to the little Bella caricature in the corner there, it would spell out Bella. Those are the letters for Bella. Because that is meant to represent Bella. So the ritual occurred, and here's Bella. A little girl lost in time. The rest of the reproduced page is missing. It so happens Sam discovered the original final page. The entirety of the Sacred Revelations that he's been studying was a recreation. We found the real thing. One page of it. That is what Sam was holding when he appeared on the rocks in his final cutscene. He said, "I need to do something to make Bella live forever." And then he chucked this page over his shoulder as though it were completely unimportant to him. It reads, "Once there was a little girl lost in time. A nice god made her live happily forever after. I am the Alpha. I am the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I am the Holy Meatloaf." Interesting. So, we have heard someone discuss Meatloaf before. That is actually a clue to the identity of the person who wrote the original Sacred Revelations. But more importantly, what we learn here is this person enjoys living forever. So it's a good thing. Sam reads this and is inspired. Inspired to do what, though? Well, we did find this message. It is from Sam Monroe, but we found it as Howard writes. Howard mentioned that he received a correspondence from Sam Monroe. Here it is. It's a printout of an email. The paper is soaked in red water and part of it has been torn off. Keep in mind that corner that has been ripped off. That'll be coming back a little later, in a very strange way. The message reads, "It's been forever, Howard. I've waited a long time for this moment when I could talk to you again. Every little tick and every little tock of the clock lasts an eternity when waiting for destiny. However, today I can finally fulfill that destiny because I found your blog. Blogs are in, and hwbiker.blogparadise.com is online. This summer, you'll hop on your bike and ride off to your own destiny in the lost town of Hanuda. I guarantee this will be the summer to end all summers. What you're about to experience is reserved especially for you. You've been chosen by the fates, Howard. Can't you hear them? You must heed their call." Are you feeling a little scared? Maybe you should be, but I know you'll come. Your damsel in distress awaits. Sincerely, Sam Monroe. P.S. Congrats on the bike license. Sam had clearly lost his mind by the time he wrote this. Absolutely horrifying, ominous message. We read hwbiker.blogparadise.com, and in one of the earliest correspondences in that blog, Howard wrote that he had to redact his email because some weirdo had found it and messaged him incoherent nonsense about destiny and the accursed town of Hanuda. Howard wrote it off, a little scared, but it stuck in the back of his mind. He printed it out, and then he obeyed everything on the message. For some reason, this worked. Sam had the worst plan in the world, but it succeeded against all odds. That, my friends, is destiny. We also received a book, Legends of Hanuda Village. That was done by Bella, finding a key in a much earlier level, carrying it all the way here, opening the correct door at the correct time. All that came to pass, so now we have this item, compiled by the Council for the Preservation and Study of Hanuda Folklore. It's Hanuda, but I still like Hanuda better. The book contains many of the various myths and legends that have been orally passed down through the generations in Hanuda Village. The girl who devoured the Celestial One. A long time ago, a terrible drought forced the village into a deep famine. A girl with the hair of the sun prayed for help, and soon a strange animal descended from the sky. The odd creature possessed the physical qualities of both a fish and an insect. Upon seeing it, the girl could no longer restrain her hunger. However, the moment she bit into the mysterious being's flesh, the sky grew ominously dark, and a loud, horrible siren echoed throughout the land. The girl was frightened and begged for forgiveness. She promised to offer up another divine fruit in exchange for the one she had consumed, if her life would be spared. So, we did see glimpses of somebody chowing down on a big, undefined carcass. And it was pretty clearly Amana. We probably recognized her actress. Also, girl with the hair of the sun. There you go. Ate the skyfish. Summoned the first siren. And brought suffering to the land forever after. But her life was spared so that she could find another divine fruit to offer up in exchange for her life. Seems like a myth, but perhaps there's more to it. In fact, I guarantee there's much more to it. This is the arcane Homer Nagi scroll. You need to shoot Saiga in the head 3 times to get this. It is a legend regarding the ancient force sealed away by the 4 sacred spirits of the Mana religion. depicted on the scroll. 4 pillars surround the sacred sword, which is ablaze and shining with a brilliant light. Near these pillars are the spirits they represent: man, lion, bull, and eagle. The classic tetramorph. Present throughout history, most famously appearing in the Bible. But like almost everything in the Bible, it was co-opted from numerous earlier religions. And it's just an explanation of how the Homoranagi sword has its power. But it is an ancient representation of the Mana religion. Apparently, Miyako has the means to activate it, and chose to do so, and it is the required tool to defeat Kaiko. So it seems like there's an ancient war between the deity that Miyako works for and Kaiko, who is the deity that Amana works for, and their dueling religions. Although I believe the Mana religion is the one that Amana represents. Let's see. Can I find thing that tells us more? Written by Hideto Mitamura, Seigo's original father. Yes, the original religion that Miyako represents, and was the original priestess of, had no name. But she began the worship of outside visitors. But that religion was cast away and the Mana faith took over. So perhaps the Mana faith sealed away the powers of the Homoranagi sword within the pillars. And that is what Miyako is doing. Because that's the only thing that could have possibly defeated Kaiko in the end. Perhaps. This is all speculation. Because we are about to get a huge info dump. The entire plot of the game is in this next archive item. In the original Let's Play done by Super Great Friend of the first Siren game, the final video is 3 hours long of him putting the events of the series in that game in their proper order, because they are told out of order in the game. He lines them up and explains how they are relevant to one another, and it all links together perfectly, but it takes 3 hours of explanation in what I will say is a masterpiece of a video. If he had put a clickbait title on the thing and maybe a Kevin McAllister face in the thumbnail, that video would have 1 million views easily, but he hamstringed himself, as usual. That's what it takes to explain everything in the first Siren. This Siren will be explained in its entirety right now in Sam and Rose Journal, written in the year 2007. Keep that in mind as we check it out. And discovered in a Tokyo garbage dump. So, first and foremost, before we even begin reading, there is a red-stained piece of paper. That is the corner of the email that was ripped off. The printout that we saw when we read Sam and Rose's email. So, Howard brought the printout of the email to Hanuda and lost it in the water. Somehow it ended up in Sam's possession. But only the corner, and he kept it. But he didn't actually read it, because he did need to wait for the actual blog to go online with the email on it in order to send the email in the first place, because he didn't know the email address. However, that's the address bar from the printout in the email. He should have had the email address already. He didn't need for the blog to go online. But whatever, it was his cue to act, and somehow he knew that. We're going to say somehow a lot, even in the message here, so just brace yourself. to have your mind expanded, even more so than looking at the kaleidoscope hell world of Kaiko. It begins. I must focus. My memories and thoughts are all starting to blur together and fade to black. This may be my last opportunity to set them down in writing before the darkness swallows them entirely. After plummeting for both an instant and eternity, I finally landed in the true Hanuda village of 1976. In this reality, Hanuda was buried by a catastrophic landslide. In the Hanuda of the past? If the Hanuda of the past was buried under a mountain of dirt, what was the village I was in before falling into the void? Very good question, Sam. Was the ceremony that night the cause of all this? Was it something unique to the location? Or was it the power of some ancient angry god? I don't know, and in the end, it doesn't matter. Whatever the cause, the result is that space-time around Hanuda is highly unstable. Big ol' hand wave. What I would like to consider here is, why did the landslide occur, which destroyed Hanuda? We've heard about it many times. However, when our intrepid heroes went to that location, there was no landslide. The village was intact, however, completely left to decay for 30 years. So, what caused the landslide? It seems like when the loop is broken, the time loop, that there is a huge violent effect. And that may have caused the landslide that buried Hanuda? At the end of the first loop, when the sacrifice does not work, there's the siren that goes off and everything collapses and then the loop begins again. And then at the end of the second loop, after Bella is saved, everything collapses once again. However, the same thing does not occur. Different things occur. We're about to find what those things were. But it seems like breaking the cycle is not acceptable, and time just resets in a very violent, catastrophic way, which may have been what initially buried Hanuda, but they're certainly not going to tell us. 1976 and 2007 somehow merged, and that kid from my time, Howard, ended up interrupting a sacrificial ceremony that was supposed to occur in the past. The space-time continuum was disrupted, and the segment of it we existed in was torn clean from the timeline. Now, like a broken record, time will forever skip to the same beat in an endless loop, and we will be forced to relive those events again and again. However, it's unfair to draw the conclusion that Howard was the cause of all this. After all, Bella was the true cause, my own daughter. She was the one who brought forth the call of that terrible siren into our world. She fell into the abyss, and like myself, was rejected by space-time, much the same way an immune system rejects an invader it doesn't recognize. In her case, she landed in a Hanuda much earlier in the past. She's the key to the siren's call. Her actions brought forth that horrible curse, and in return received immortality. She transformed from my innocent little girl into the divine woman from village legend, Amana. 31 summers have come and gone. The summer of August 2007 is once again approaching, and with it, that fateful night. At this moment, Howard knows nothing of Hanuda, and the other me is teaching in America, blissfully ignorant of what is about to occur. The time to set the chain of events into motion is close at hand. Young Howard is about to receive a very important invitation. Howard will visit Hanuda. The sacrificial ceremony will be interrupted, and the siren will beckon for us. The beginning and the end are fused together. The laws of causality are broken, and time marches around in an eternal circle. No, everything is going out of focus again. Memories of who I am and who I was are all running together like paint spilled on the fragile canvas of my mind. What was it I was supposed to do again? I can't lose focus. I must focus. Bella, yes. Everything must be prepared. Everything must be repeated so that Bella can live forever. It is also a matter of preparation, but the preparation is to incite a repeat of all things for all time. Bella is Amana. That is somewhat surprising. There was a hint at it in the very last cutscene. We saw Bella stumbling around in the past in the same staticky film filter. And then it's sort of smash cut to Amana eating the bug fish corpse. A juxtaposition meant to indicate that they are indeed the same person. Howard's actions are what causes the time paradox in the first place, which collapses Hanuda and makes time repeat forever. But Sam could have broken the cycle. Sam chooses to repeat the cycle by informing the otherwise oblivious random participants of what needs to be done. And he does that because he needs Bella to live forever. He read the page that Amana wrote that said, "I love living forever. Please make this happen over and over again." And Sam said, "Alrighty." What was Sam's reward for compliance with the time loop? Unidentified foreign national found dead. On August 1st at 3:30 p.m., a woman taking a walk in Okai Gakuen Park in Senda City happened upon a man lying on the ground. She noticed something was wrong and quickly notified the police. Senda police officers hurried to the scene and called an ambulance when they noticed the adult foreign male was confused and incoherent. He was soon taken to a nearby hospital, but was pronounced dead the same day at 6:33 p.m. The unidentified male was in his 50s to 70s, wide gap there, 6 feet tall, and thin with gray hair. He was found wearing a plaid shirt and beige pants. The only other item in his possession was a broken pair of glasses engraved with the letters SM. There are no obvious signs of physical trauma, and the police are currently investigating his identity and the cause of his death. Sam died. He clearly lived for 31 additional years after falling into 1976. Slowly went mad, which is when he sent that email. Never once changed his clothes. And kept the broken pair of glasses that Melissa gave him before they divorced. Even though he clearly didn't need them. So he died 3 hours after being found. Of unknown causes. At the nearby hospital. Very strange. One assumes that maybe his role had been fulfilled and the god smote him because he was done with him. The best guess anyone can make is that some capricious god has decided all this needs to occur. That god would probably be Miyako's deity, who is the actual one maintaining the Ouroboros. Kaiko doesn't seem to be aware of anything that's going on. Kaiko seems to just be an eldritch Lovecraft god who lives out in Inferno, and Amana wants to serve him, or her, or it, out of duty in repentance for the sin she committed. So, she needs to offer up a fruit of some kind, Miyako's corpse. For some reason, she waits a very long time. How long of a time? Let's get a little hint of that. Okay. So here is before any weirdness occurs. Normal Bella. She writes help right here and leaves that note for her father to find and head to the church to meet up with her. I mentioned the Shibito writing in the Sacred Revelations, which Amana clearly wrote the first time. The Shibito writing is completely useless. I had to zoom in, I had to compare it. It's all handwritten, so it's very hard to read, compared to the also very hard to read tablet with the Shibito writing on it. Bottom line, it's completely worthless. Don't even bother reading it. Sam is holding his head saying, "Ah," over and over again. Just the letter A repeated many times. The deity up on the cloud in the corner is saying, "Ha ha," H-A-H-A. It's laughing maniacally. That's just an example of how meaningless it all is. There's Bella's name. Yeah, there's, Howard screaming "ah" as well. Like I said, none of that matters. What matters is actually this right here. Miyako is saying something. It looks like it's Shibito language, but it's not. That is the word help in English, with 2 exclamation points afterwards, written in the same font that Bella wrote help here. A little more is distorted, because I guess they couldn't read English when they recreated the Sacred Revelations. But Bella's journal is the Sacred Revelations in some way or another. Not in its entirety, she kept writing. So, further connection between this and this. Just as a little curiosity. If you try to figure this all out, you're just going to end up with a headache. There's an inherent paradox to the fact that if Sam never sent the email, which he didn't originally, then he would never have traveled back in time in order to send the email, which he did originally. Like I said, paradox. They cannot exist at the same time. Basically, everything that happens in the game could not have happened unless it had happened before. It's an endless loop, as noted. Presumably, once again, it is Miyako's deity battling with Kaiko, who is another hapless victim along with Sam and Bella and Amana, who are the same person, Howard. Everybody's just hapless victims. But there are also a lot of unsatisfying ways that things don't connect. Things they simply refuse to explain, even though they damn well should have. And I assure you, in the original Siren, they did explain all those things. But this one, I've talked myself around in circles for many, many hours. There are some things that simply don't connect. You just gotta not worry about it. The one I'm gonna bring up now is Amana's memory. When we first start playing and talking to Amana, she legitimately is a benign character. She wants to help us. She doesn't know what's going on. She has actually lost her memories. It's not until she finds her brooch and reads "Wake Up" on the back that she becomes evil Amana, the villain of the game. But she had already committed murders so as to cover the tracks of what her cult was up to. She had spent 1,000 years doing awful things. That's what I was going here for. So, in this page, somewhere down here, Bella writes, "I don't know much about Japan, but I hope I can meet a samurai when I go there." Then, after the events of the game, she goes through enough time loops to actually survive the events of the game. She is transported to ancient Japan, the time of the samurai. So, perhaps Miyako's deity is literally granting wishes. It read that Bella wants to meet a samurai, so it made that happen. That's why she traveled 1,000 years into the past, we'll say. And when the drought struck, Bella prayed, and what was delivered unto her but the corpse of Kaiko from when Howard killed it. It too fell backwards in time. But to that specific time when Amana prayed for it. Either that or it had been lying and untouched for many years as Amana grew up, and she just left it in a closet somewhere, and then when the drought struck, she decided to consume it then. The scroll says that it appeared when she prayed during the drought. So, that is a matter of interpretation. Like I said, they're not going to tell you. So, I like to think that the deity had some design. It is willfully causing all these things to happen. In other words, anytime you have a question about why a certain thing is a certain way in Siren Blood Curse, the answer is a deity did it. Lovecraft God said, "This happens now because I want Bella to grow up to be Amana and cause the infinite time loop that makes Kaiko miserable forever." Best explanation I can come up with. Because our hapless pawns never found out any further. Anyway, the very last archive item, which cannot be missed, is the portable music player. Portable electronic device with a headphone jack, designed to play music files copied from a computer. With the ever-increasing storage capacities of such devices in recent years, they can hold a large number of songs, as well as sport other extra features. Yeesh. The playlist for this player is currently set to loop Howard's favorite song. If we hit triangle, it will export that song to my hard disk drive. I've done so already. And if we hit X, it plays the song. This is the ending song, to which Howard committed a mass murder of all the Shibito. Turned them into wild Gmod characters waving their arms around in terror. Like it's quarter life, halfway to destruction. Very, very silly. Very unexpected, unless you played the original Siren, where something similar occurs. This song is called Genocide, appropriately enough, by a band called IDK-SJ. This song was released before their debut album on a website. Never put on an official album. Only ever put up on a promotional website. But we did establish that Howard's a big hipster. So this is the sort of thing he would declare to be his favorite song, without much surprise. They are a generic nu metal band, only interesting for the fact that they began in the year 2007, when nu metal was long dead. And they persist to this day. They still put out albums, go on tours. They're an independent band, and they're still pretty obscure, but good for them. Sticking it out. The song's not bad. It's fine. Almost all their songs sound exactly the same, I will say. So I guess it's not that bad that he has this song on a loop for all eternity as he hunts Shibito. Or perhaps just starves to death while trapped in Inferno. He said that his promise to Miyako was to slay the Shibito, because his initial promise was to escape Hanuda with Miyako, and he failed miserably. So he has just settled on this being his new promise. Also, the version that plays on the music player is about a minute shorter than the one you could have downloaded on the promotional website long, long ago. For whatever reason. And it's appropriate that it loops forever because the game loops forever. But that is it. You can now sit with Siren Blood Curse for the rest of your days. It will not be lost media, despite the fact that it is cursed to live forever on a dead console. The odds of it ever being ported to a more recent console are infinitesimal, and it does require 6-axis controls to work properly. If you don't have a controller with 6-axis, you literally cannot escape from any grapple, and it will kill you. So, I guess I hope that you enjoyed Siren Blood Curse. I missed a bunch of the executions, but otherwise, showed off pretty much everything I needed to show off. So there you go. Maybe watch the original Siren. It's good stuff. The entire Siren series is fantastic. Also, Slowbeef of all people, the inventor of Let's Play, is putting out a Siren-inspired game later this year. An independent game made by him and his friends, where sightjacking is a major component in this stealth game. It's called Atama, A-T-A-M-A. So wishlist that on Steam. And next year, this game's development team, the original Team Silent, creator of the entire Siren series and the entire Gravity Rush series, are making a new game in their own new studio where they have free creative reign. That game will be called Slitterhead. Like to slit one's throat. Slitterhead. And it's a body horror action game. Looks very cool, but they haven't showed off any gameplay yet. Should be out in 2023. Siren does not die. It lives forever. Thanks again for watching. Check out those upcoming materials. Check out the other Let's Plays made by Super Great Friend. And have a good one.